Hi coffee lovers, what's up? Josh here from Alternative Brewing. Welcome back. Today in front of me I have the Pinecone Pinion all-purpose coffee grinder. And if you are serious about filter coffee, then this grinder you'll want to stick around for. Producing bright, clean flavors with sparkling transparency. I'm going to cover off the specs and talk about the pros and cons so you can get a clear idea of the value of this grinder. And if you enjoy watching this video, don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, you ready? Let's jump in. So from top to bottom, the Pinion grinder has a large 600-gram hopper that also works great for single dosing coffee. This hopper being my least favorite part of the whole grinder, I will touch on what I don't like about this a little later on in the video. Moving down, the Pinion grinder uses large 65mm stainless steel flat burrs, powered by a 450-watt motor. And at the time of making this video, I still hadn't found any information on the RPM of the Burrs. However, I do suspect that it is up there around 1600, which is quite high, as this grinder, by an easy margin, is the most compact and fastest home grinder I have ever used. And as an example of that now, we will test with a 20-gram dose on an espresso setting, and also one on filter, just so you can see how quick this grinder is. Let's do that. Start with the espresso first. Start the clock. And done. 20 grams. Seemed too fast. Oh, it smells delicious. All right, let's do the filter now. There we go. That was on just below 1. We'll take it to just past 3, just over halfway. On a filter setting, start the clock. 20 grams of filter, done. Now in changing the grind, this is done easily from the front using the grinder dial. And there are a total of 45 stepped settings on the Pinion, from almost espresso fine, starting out at 1, to very coarse, past 5. Here are the results from every 8 steps on the grinder's dial. And the grind consistency I find is really good. And whilst it's not perfect for espresso, where I found only 1 to 2 sweet spots for the grind size, it more than makes up for this in the filter range. And if you're into making AeroPress or pour overs, or perhaps French press or any other filter brew method, then this grinder brews fantastically delicious coffee. Now with a removable magnetized chute directly below the Burrs, it's super easy to keep this grinder clean. And the modular front allows for an easy swap in and out of the large steel dosing cup, which is great when brewing filter coffee, to forks for the stability of using a dripper and grinding directly into that, to an adjustable set of portafilter forks. And I really like the approach to this, having basically all of the options available to you. Now there is a switch you'll find at the back of the Pinion, and you either turn the grinder directly on and off from this switch, or you turn the automatic switch on at the front of the Pinion. Convenient, I have found that this switch is not in the best place for when using the portafilter, so I do end up just using the on and off at the back when grinding out. Then below all of this, you have a removable grinds catcher. All right, let's talk about what makes the Pinecone Pinion stand out. First and foremost, it's the speed of this grinder. It is an absolute beast when it comes to efficiency, saving you precious minutes in your morning routine. And it does so surprisingly quiet too, which is usually something sacrificed for speed. The flavor profile too, I found is consistently excellent, and it gives you clean, vibrant flavors that I know filter coffee enthusiasts will crave. Also, the settings are intuitive. It is a stepped grinder, so it makes it easy to dial in, and because it is so consistent, you can replicate your favorite brews time and time again. But of course, no product is without its flaws, so I've had this grinder for a couple of weeks now, and I found it isn't the best choice for espresso coffee. It has a limited grind size at that finer range, not really suitable for espresso, which means you might struggle to find that perfect shot. And if you're someone who enjoys both filter coffee and espresso regularly, then this might be a bit of a drawback. And another issue is the build quality. Whilst the plastic construction keeps it lightweight, it doesn't quite match the premium price tag and does feel a little bit cheap when picking it up. Additionally, this large protruding hopper isn't necessary, I see, for most users who will likely just be single dosing coffee with it. And the hopper's design is overly complicated, with several pinpoints locking it into place on the top of the grinder, which can make opening and closing the grinder's chute a little bit of a hassle. And I've also noticed if you're unable to close this, then bean shards jump back into the hopper whilst you're grinding, so be careful with that. Lastly, despite its speed, it can be a little bit messy under the chute. Even with the Ross droplet technique, where you spray water on the beans to mitigate static, there's still a noticeable spray from the chute. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to be aware of. When comparing the Pinecone Pinion to other grinders in the market, like the DF83V, the DF83V is a very strong contender in this space, especially with its own versatility in grind settings and adjustable RPM and performance. However, when it comes to pure flavor clarity and consistency for filter coffee, I think the Pinecone Pinion really does hold its own here. And it doesn't require you to vary the burst speed to get to those bright, clean flavors, which I see simplifies the process and ensures you get the best results every time. And while the DF83V is an absolute beast in its own right, I see the Pinecone Pinion offering a specialized focus on filter coffee that's hard to beat. Now, in cleaning the Pinecone Pinion, you can do this super easy as it is tool-free to get inside. With 2 screws to be undone on the front panel, this releases the outer burr set, and then you have full access to the grinds chamber where you can brush away and clean those burrs before simply reversing the process and then closing it back up. And this will keep this grinder in tip-top shape for years to come. So what's the final verdict on the Pinecone Pinion all-purpose grinder? Well, if you're into filter coffee and looking for a grinder that delivers exceptional speed, consistency, and flavor clarity, this is the grinder for you. It's not as an all-purpose grinder as I would like it to be, but its strengths in the filter coffee domain do make it a standout here. And I've included links in the description down below where you can learn more about the Pinecone Pinion and where to purchase it. And thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed the review. If you have, give it a thumbs up. Also, drop a comment in the comments section down below on your thoughts of the Pinecone Pinion, any questions you might have. I love hearing from you guys. So until next time, happy brewing, and we'll see you in the next video.